Welcome to the Art Lady channel. Today we're going to be looking at turkeys and we're going to be drawing and painting a turkey using some imaginary colors, but we want to make sure that the body parts that we're putting into our turkey are pretty realistic. So we're going to look at some turkeys from a farm, and actually it came from a blueberry farm, and we're going to listen to the turkeys as well. And at home, if you want to do that, you can. It's in my playlist under birds. And then if you scroll through, you'll find some turkey videos that you can watch as well. And now after we've watched them, then we're going to go ahead and draw them in. So we're going to start the lesson now on the draw part of it. And we're going to actually draw our turkey with our paintbrush. At home, if you'd like to draw your turkey, you can using pencils, markers, or whatever you have. But for my kids, we're going to go right to the paintbrush. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our paper, and this is a 12 by 18 sheet of paper, and we're going to put our hand in the very middle of the turkey. And if you look here, this is our next step right here. We're going to trace around our hand after it's in the middle, but we want to make sure that we leave room at the top and then room here at the bottom, which will then become the top. I'm going to show you in a minute what that means. So we're going to take and place our hand in the very middle. I'm going to leave about 3 fingers down. And if you have a marker or you're doing this with crayon, just go ahead and use a crayon. But if you're using paint like my kids, just go ahead and dip it into your paint. And we're going to draw with our brush. So I'm going to start with on one side of my hand, up, around, and come back to the end. And I'm going to stop near my thumb. So I'm going to come up, around, and stop near my thumb. I'm just letting the brush hairs drag behind, and I lift my hand. This will ensure that we have a nice wide turkey to work with, and it's placed in the proper position in the very center of our page. Let's come back and look at our turkey here. This is where I had placed my hand, right here. Let me turn it around so you can see it. And then this is the actual U that I drew. So you can see on our turkey what it looks like before we finish. This is the very first step. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it around for step 2. I turn it upside down, which is now the right side, and this is now becoming the turkey body, and then I'll put my legs down here. Then step 2 is to add some of the details. Step 2, we're going to add now the head to our letter U, and you can see this is the original letter U, and we're going to add the tail feathers, and you'll see on a real turkey they have longer feathers on their tail and shorter, smaller feathers on their body. So now that's our next step. So we're going to go ahead, take our brush, I put a little bit on the end, and I'm going to come up and around and draw a circle for the head. You want the circle to be at least 3 fingers here. You don't want it to be really, really tiny, so it's in good proportion with the body. Now I'm going to just kind of connect from the head area straight across, and then I'm going to go ahead and make a diagonal line from this back end, which will be where the tail starts, right to the corner, diagonally up, directly to my corner. So we have a U shape with a top on it and a circle, and now I'm going to do my straight lines to form the back end of the turkey. I'm going to come near the bottom and I'm going to go diagonally as far as I can to the corner of the page. So near the bottom of the U, this is the actual bottom, I jumped up a little bit and I drew a straight line. This will become the back end of the turkey where all his big, beautiful feathers are. So now I'm going to come out from the back and I'm going to go diagonally up, touching the bird, go diagonally or horizontally across rather, and then I'm going to go diagonally down. I'm kind of keeping it equal spaced or as close to equal space as I can. So now I have the turkey kind of mapped out on my page where everything's going to go. We've got the body parts, we've got the head, the body, the tail. Now I can go ahead and start adding a little bit more detail. I can go ahead and add a beak, and a turkey's beak, instead of coming out straight horizontally like a bird's, a turkey beak Let me wipe my brush a little bit. I'm going to go into some orange now. It comes down diagonally like this. So I find the center of my circle, and here's my center, and now I'm going to go diagonally down right there. And then I'm going to paint it back in to the head. And then I'll just fill that in with paint. If you're doing this with crayon or marker, just go ahead and fill it in with crayon or marker. Or you can draw the whole thing maybe with a black marker or a pencil, whatever you prefer to draw. Now, while I have a little bit of this orange on, I'm just going to do some horizontal brush strokes. And you can even make these with a slight curve. So it's this kind of up, up. And I'm skipping space. When I do a brush stroke, I'll start to the edge, come over, leave some white, and just randomly place some of these brush strokes. And I can go ahead and add some color if I want orange in my tail as well. Now, if you're painting this, you can make your turkey, since you are an artist, any color you want. You don't necessarily have to do it realistic. You can do it in purple values or blue values or a combination of warm colors or just cool colors or mixing it. So however you want to do it, I'm going to be using some blue, green, brown, and some families of red and orange to my turkey. So it's going to be based on a real turkey, but then it's going to have a little bit of artistic flair to it. So now I'm just making my feathers a little bit thicker, each tail feather, right in here. And I'm going to add just a little bit of this color, to kind of dab it in the head. Now again, any color you want to. Now the next color I'm going to add is going to be some green. So I'm just going to wipe off my brush a little bit to change color. And I'm going to put the feathers in now for green. And I'm going to not put it on top of the orange, but I'm just going to go next to it. And in the same manner, I'm kind of just doing it quickly, and I kind of press down and lift up. You can do a little flick like that if you want to give a little curve. And then I'm going to just add a few dabs into here. And then I'm going to bring some green in between. Now I'm leaving some white because I want to have more color show. These are layering of colors. It's kind of going to be almost impressionistic the way we lay the colors next to each other. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some little bit of green feathers in here. You don't have to go all the way to the end. We'll end up adding some more color in there too. So with your next color, so far I've done 3 different colors, add a little bit more toward the edge or ends. And then I'm going to put a little bit of blue in here. I'm just going to go in between and put blue for feathers. Dabbing it. Now, when we look at real turkeys, a realistic turkey head, and on my video I have some close-ups of that turkey head, a lot of the facial area, especially around the eye, is beautiful blues. I'm going to dab a little bit of violet in with my blue to make it a bluey violet. Let's see if that wasn't enough. And so I'm just going to dab here and then bring down some more blue in this area. Here. There. And then I'm going to do some blue little bits on the feathers here on the end. Just give a little bit of blue in here for the tail. The tail is long brush strokes. Let me move this over so you can see a little bit better. The tail is going to be long brush strokes. You see how long I'm doing? Since the feathers are really long, my strokes are then long to illustrate long feathers. And these are shorter feathers on the turkey, so we do shorter brush strokes. Here's some purple now. I'm doing purple in between just to give a little bit of dark in here. And dabs, a little bit of dab. There. Now, the last color I'm going to do is give some brown. And I'm going to do little brown feathers. In between. If I see any white, I'm going to make sure I try and get the white. So we're layering color. And then I'm going to do some long strokes of brown in the turkeys, the last turkey feathers here, long strokes. Some long brush strokes there. Now I want to put on, or give him, some legs. So I'm going to do 2 lines down. And I'm not doing these perfectly straight. They're slightly diagonal, then this one's going to be slightly diagonal this way. And then some toes. He has these long toes with some claws on the ends here. Do another one on this side, and then a little back short line on the back. Little tiny short one on the back. Do another one over here. Okay, I don't see too much of that back toe. Now what I'm going to do is give the turkey his snood, which is this kind of rubbery, fleshy skin. And again, on that video, let me bring this up a little bit so you can see better. The video of my live turkeys shows this really good. He has this long, it comes off of the beak and just hangs down like this. It's a little skinny thing, and it just wiggles and wiggles and wiggles as he moves. And then he has this, I'm going to give some dabs and dashes in here because he's got this reds and pinks in his face along with the blues. And then he's got the wattle, which is, let me back this up a little bit. The wattle comes off of his head and neck right in here. So I'm going to dab this in, and it comes down right in here. That's the wattle, and I'm going to give him some blue dots in between. So I've just dunked my brush into the blue and give him some texture and different value and texture in there. So here is the red wattle with some blue and purple shadow. Now the last thing I'm going to do is go ahead and use my black. I'm going to give him a little eye. Now this is the side view turkey. So we're looking, we only see one eye, and then we see the side of his beak here, which is in replace for a nose and a mouth. So we don't draw a smiley face on our turkey because this is the side view of our turkey. And that's basically how you would make a very simplified version of a turkey. Now if you want his mouth opened, just do a little beak at the bottom here, right there. Give him some shadow there on his beak. In the video you can see him panting because it was in the summer that I videoed and his little mouth was open there. And of course you can add any other details you want. If you want to add some little black feathers, in the video you can see black and white stripes on his feathers here. So the more detail you put in, you know, the more interesting your turkey's going to be. But just have fun exploring and experimenting with some color and layering of paint. Yeah, I kind of like it with the little black lines in here as well. So there we are. Let me know in the comments how your turkey came out.